Okay, next bill is House Bill 264. Delegate Guyton, welcome to the Environment and Transportation Committee. You have 4 minutes. The timer is, you'll see it's 2 minutes and we'll cycle through it 2 times. So it's, as I like to say to people, it's like the old Love Connection show, 2 and 2, go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hopefully I will not need that much time. For the record, I'm Delegate Michelle Guyton from District 42B in Baltimore County, and I'm here to request a favorable report on House Bill 264. House Bill 264 authorizes, it purely enables, the expansion of school speed enforcement zones to areas near nursery schools. Now, a nursery school is defined in COMAR, and so some people keep asking me what is that? It's defined in COMAR as an educational program serving children 2 to 5 years old. So it is appropriate to consider them preschools, but in COMAR they're still called nursery schools in this area. So current safe zone statute only includes K through 12 schools, but not preschool programs. So this change has been requested by community members to help address excessive speeds on major thoroughfares in my area. And we know that since being enacted in 2009 by this General Assembly, Maryland's Safe Zone program has been incredibly effective. So it's reported a near 90% reduction of vehicles speeding more than 12 miles above the speed limit in safe zone areas. And we feel very strongly that preschool children, nursery schools need similar protections. And a really great example of this, one also in my district, is Timonium United Methodist Church Nursery School on Hot Spring Road, a very big thoroughfare in the area. Speeding is already a problem on this road, with several serious accidents having occurred in just the past few years. And speed studies show over 10,000 cars travel the road each day. This is according to MDOT studies, and many moving over 60 miles per hour, which is actually twice the 30-mile-per-hour posted limit on that road. So authorizing a school zone for this nursery school allows placement of signage and speed cameras that will alert drivers to slow down because young children are nearby. House Bill 264 enables counties, again, it's authorizing, to implement school speed enforcement zones near nursery schools or preschools, if they choose to do so. I thank you for your attention to this matter, and I request a favorable report on House Bill 264. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. I believe we have a panel of about 5 or 6 people.
Sure. What we'll do is we'll go through all the people who are testifying in favor. Nobody is opposed, and then we'll entertain questions. But quickly, Michelle, are you standing doing this presentation? It looks like you're standing up.
I am not, but I probably should be exercising while I do it.
Okay.
No, this is my office background.
I was going to say it's a very cool angle.
This is better for you.
Yeah.
This will help get my bill passed. I can.
Okay, no, that's fine. Sachin Hebar is the first person signed up. Sachin, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, terrific. You've got the floor. 2 minutes. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Chairman Burway and members of Environment and Transportation Committee. I'm Sachin Hebar, a resident of Lutherville in Baltimore County, and I'm an at-large member of Baltimore County Pedestrian and Bicycle Advisory Committee. I thank Delegate Guyton for introducing HB 264, and I'm here to speak in favor of it. Encouraging people to use alternative modes of transit is important to combat climate change, and pedestrian safety is at the heart of encouraging adoption of alternate means of transit. We have to make it safe for children to walk to schools. Parents and children not only need to be safe, but also need to feel safe while dropping off children at schools. Now, there is no reason why children in nursery schools should be excluded from being or feeling safe from cars near their institutes of learning. This gap in deployment of speed cameras should be closed. The Zero Deaths Maryland website reported 125 pedestrian fatalities in 2021, and we need to utilize all tools at our disposal to make Maryland safe for pedestrians. A CDC study that looked at the effectiveness of automated speed camera enforcement showed that it reduced total crashes 8% to 49%, and fatal and serious injury crashes 11% to 44% in studies that compared pre and post crash data collected near camera sites. Speed cameras are non-intrusive and they are extremely effective in traffic calming. In fact, it is so effective that the head of Pedestrian Council of Australia once described speed cameras as the best things in sliced bread for pedestrian safety. This is a good bill. I believe this will have a positive impact on make our community safer and more accessible, and I strongly encourage this committee to vote in favor of this bill. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Next up, Jeff Myers. Jeff, welcome to the committee. You have 2 minutes, sir. Jeff, I believe you have to unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. I figured you all were doing the unmuting. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon. I'm Jeff Myers, President of the Pot Spring Community Association at Timonium. It should not be news to you that speeding is out of control. Speeders are now routinely driving 15 miles per hour over the speed limit. Many are doing 20 to 30 miles over. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration just reported this week that traffic deaths are way up, even though people are traveling fewer miles on average. A headline in yesterday's Sun paper was U.S. road deaths jump at record pace as risky driving habits persist. Excessive speeding is not just happening on interstates, it's happening on roads everywhere around our state, including feeder roads in our rural and suburban neighborhoods. I do not know how to solve this national problem, but HB 264 can be one part of the solution in Maryland. We have speeding problems in my neighborhood. People are driving like crazy on Pot Spring Road, which has a 30-mile-per-hour speed limit. We recently had an accident so severe that people had to be transported to shock trauma via helicopter. This on a 30-mile-per-hour road. The problem is so bad that the Baltimore County Police requested the County Traffic Bureau to study the issue. At a community meeting, police officers and traffic engineers told me that the only thing that really slows down drivers is speed cameras. Well, I thought there's a solution. We'll get the county to put up a speed camera at our local nursery school. There's one hitch. The school speed cameras statute currently only applies to grades K through 12. HB 264 will change the statute to include preschools. I know that sometimes it can take years to get a bill passed in the General Assembly. Please do not make us come back next year with the bill named in memory of a nursery school student killed by a speeding driver. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up, Eric Rockel with the Greater Timonium Community Council Organization. Eric, welcome to the committee. You have 2 minutes, sir. Eric, you there? Well, let's go to Tara Ackerman, and if Eric shows up, we'll admit him. Tara, welcome to the committee. You have, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, terrific. Welcome to the committee. You have 2 minutes.
All right, thank you. Chair Barbe, Vice Chair Stein, and esteemed members of the Environment and Transportation Committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of HB 264. My name is Tara Lystra Ackerman, and I'm here on behalf of the National Safety Council, or NSC, which is America's leading nonprofit safety advocate. NSC is also proud to lead the National Road to Zero Coalition with the goal of eliminating roadway fatalities by 2050. We also have a chapter located in Baltimore. In order to achieve this goal of zero fatalities, we must take advantage of all available tools, including automated enforcement technologies. As you know, in Maryland, automated enforcement is highly effective in slowing down drivers and helping to ensure people driving at posted speeds. People drive at posted speeds, which reduces the severity and likelihood of crashes. In Maryland and across the country, pedestrian fatalities are increasing. There's been a 25% increase here in the state in pedestrian fatalities over the past 5 years. So far this year, 12 pedestrians have been killed in crashes on Maryland roads. And nationally, 17% of children under 14 that are killed on our roads were pedestrians. More needs to be done to protect our most vulnerable road users. It is so important to keep our youngest community members safe, and expanding the use of automated enforcement to include nursery school zones will ensure proper speed adherence in these high-risk areas. We should provide the highest level of safety for nursery school zones, ensuring vehicles operating around them are driving at posted lower speeds. In order to help communities implement these programs with safety as the top priority, NSC, along with other traffic safety groups, released an automated enforcement checklist last year. This list provides steps to ensure these programs reduce crashes and prevent deaths and injuries while building community support. Eliminating roadway fatalities cannot be done without massive near-term gains in highway safety, and we must use every tool at our disposal to save these lives, which includes stronger laws around speed enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is Eric Rockel in the house?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chairman. I couldn't unmute myself before.
Okay, well, you're here now, so please welcome to the committee, and you have 2 minutes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Eric Rockel. I'm the president of an umbrella group called the Greater Timonium Community Council. We count as our members about 40 to 50 individual community associations throughout Lutherville, Timonium, and Cockeysville. I'm here today because it's this community that has asked the delegate Guyton to introduce this legislation, but I know from speaking with leaders in other communities at various functions and events that speeding is just a systemic problem throughout all of Baltimore County. This provides another tool in the toolkit to solve the problems with speeding. Most recently on Pot Spring Road, which has already been mentioned, there have been, to my knowledge, at least 2 cases where speeding caused drivers to exit the paved road. In one instance, they crashed into a monument sign. In another instance, they ended up in someone's backyard. God forbid that they would leave the road and crash into a nursery school property. I ask this committee to favorably support the proposed legislation, and thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you very much. I believe the last witness is Bill George with the Maryland Municipal League. Bill, welcome back to the committee.
Thank you to the chair and members of the committee. Bill George with the Maryland Municipal League, here today in support of House Bill 264. As has been mentioned, speeding is becoming an increasing problem in municipalities as well as parts of the counties. The proliferation of GPS apps is taking cars off of roads and onto others that are not necessarily designed to have that level of traffic. And that includes roads with schools. As you know, municipalities are currently authorized to put speed cameras in school zones after a public process. And this bill would create a reasonable and incremental change to expand to nursery schools as well. It keeps in line with the thought process of the initial speed camera program, of protecting those most vulnerable, primarily children, through the adoption of school zones. So with that, Maryland Municipal League offers support for this bill and asks for a favorable report.
All right, thank you very much. We have several questions. The first will go to Delegate Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Delegate Guyton, am I correct in assuming that the term daycare would fall under nursery?
Thank you for that question. That's one I want to make sure that everyone understands. There is a distinction between child care centers and nursery schools. So you can have nursery schools are a type of child care center, but they're a more exclusive group, and not every nursery school is a child care center. So I said that backwards. So yes, there is a difference. Child care centers can operate sort of more as babysitters, as daycare programs. Nursery schools really should be thought of more along the lines of preschools. They must involve an educational program, and they don't serve infants and small toddlers. They serve 2 to 5 year olds. So there is a big difference between those.
Well, I guess my other question from that is we have Montessori schools and in the rural areas that act as both Montessori school and a daycare. So would they fall under the definition in your bill?
Sure, I have the COMAR definition in front of me. So I do believe, Delegate, that if the Montessori school is there providing the educational program, that would include that school as well. So if it were just the daycare, it would not, but since they have that educational component, it does fall under the COMAR regulation for nursery schools.
Okay,
so,
thank you. And one other quick question, if I may. Did I understand you to say that this was enabling legislation for the counties, or is this?
Yes, it is enabling. It's an authorizing. They cannot do it without this authorization.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next question goes to Delegate Lehrman.
Thank you. So we in the past actually had a bill similar to this, but I wanted basically what Delegate Clark said spelled out why this is different. And I just wanted to, have you talked to Delegate Fisher, Winnie Fisher, at all about her past bill?
Thank you, Delegate. I have not. So I wasn't aware of that.
Okay, because I think her bill was the child care center version, and this bill is the nursery school center version. So your bill is actually more narrowly tailored, which I think is what we were looking for. So thanks. I just wanted to clarify for the committee. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that question. Actually, we have talked to the county about this bill as well, and they actually are supportive of it. That is the piece that they wanted to clarify as well, that not every child care center or home child care center could then request a camera. So they cannot under this legislation.
Delegate Lehman is next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to my friend Delegate Guyton for bringing this bill. I think it's a good one. I also wanted to understand a little bit more about your statement that it's enabling legislation. If you could elaborate and say, what would a county or a municipality have to do if this becomes law? Would they take up the law themselves and include and have to pass it locally and include, say, their own standards for deciding, where these cameras might go? What does that look like?
Thank you, my friend Delegate Lehman. I appreciate that question, and I'm going to give you the answer that I best understand to be true, and I could be a little bit off on this. Currently, this is already in statute for other school areas. They don't authorize them for every single school. So not every school has a problem that feels like they need the signage and the speed cameras. When the county decides that they do have a place where they feel like this would be really impactful, then they still go through the process of having to present it to the higher ups at the county and voting on that. So I believe it's actually a county council vote that would put it in place, but I do not believe they would have to readapt the legislation. Again, if I'm wrong, it's possible, but that's my understanding.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The next question goes to the Vice Chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Eric Rockwell. Thank you for your testimony. And Delegate, thank you for bringing this bill. And I guess this just goes back to Delegate Lehman's question. Your intention is that the procedures that a county would have to go through if this bill were to pass to authorize speed cameras at nursery schools would be the same that they go through in authorizing speed cameras at other schools. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the sponsor or any of the witnesses? It appears no one's signed up in opposition. So if there are no further questions, thank you, Delegate Guyton. That ends the public hearing on this bill.